going to tell.
How are some of these characters going to be different from what fans may be expecting?
Oh, well. I'm very sorry to inform you that Dmitri is not Russian. I think that you will be okay with it once you get to know this remarkable and very, 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 very good man who's now embodying him. But outside of that, I think that we wanted to make sure that this ensemble looked and felt and culturally represented the world that we live in today. And we wanted that to be celebrated. We didn't want somebody like Cece, who has an Australian accent, being from Australia.
You guys understand me?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes.
I can't understand him.
I was going to say, it might be me, because everyone seems to not understand
No,
what
nobody can understand you ever.
We were shooting in Spain, and everyone understood the Spanish people more than me. So.
But we didn't want to have to be like, oh, we're all part of one universal accent, we're all part of one universal origin, we're all part of one universal color, nationality, race, etc. We wanted to make sure that we had queer representation. We wanted to make sure that we had a colorful ensemble. And so in doing so, we made some shifts to characters. Sometimes they're just as simple as casting shifts. Sometimes it really impacted the thematic core of a character's existence. And that's part of the fun of adapting for a book that's especially been around for a while, adapting it for present day and really having a lot more awareness and knowledge of how to tell those stories than I even did, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it just makes it better.
I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud of the way that you two brought everything together, and there's a perfect mix, and the balance and the chemistry is really that. You did a great job. Congratulations.
I think
Why, thank you, Cece.
we keep saying this word about essence.
Essence.
Well, I think for us all,
everyone take a shot every time we
Cece
say
said a better
essence.
word. The soul of the characters, I think, is there in every aspect. We've done our homework, we've done our research, we've all fell in love with the people that we are playing. And I think that will shine through regardless of the things that was once imagined on the page. These guys have run away and created a world that is living, breathing, it's dangerous, it's sexy, it's exciting, and hopefully you can stay. And just enjoy it, give it a watch, I promise. It's great. I promise you.
Please.
There's no bigger fan, by the way, of this entire show than Kieran. and no bigger fan of Dmitri on this planet, I think, than Kieran.
Yeah.
Maybe my mum. My mum really likes me.
His mom.
Yeah. Shout out, mum. I love you.
Shout out.
I think you might have some competition for the biggest fan of Dmitri in this room. I have a feeling. But obviously, since a massive part of Vampire Academy is the relationships between the characters, romance is a big part of it, but the best relationship at the center is between Rose and Lissa. So what are we going to be seeing from their dynamic in the first season?
What I love about Rose and Lissa, too, is they kind of seem like polar opposites, but they balance each other so well. And they come from a completely different class system, of course. And there's almost like a yin and yang to them. And that's
Definitely.
explored as well in almost a metaphorical way. Like in the beginning of the series, there's this loss that they both go through. And you end up seeing this vulnerable side of Lissa and Rose kind of taking charge, doing her duty, being strong. And then as the show progresses, those roles kind of get flipped a little bit, and you see more vulnerability from Rose and Lissa, stepping into her power.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think that their dynamic as best friends is just so interesting and resonated a lot with me. And it's just beautiful. I mean, like two best friends, I feel like that's such a fundamental part of being a woman, is your female friendships and how you connect with them.
Soulmates.
Yeah, we really are soulmates.
Yeah, lovers come and go, but best friends are forever.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And now let's talk about the non-platonic relationships, because there's already some romance blooming in that sneak peek that we saw between Rose and Dmitri. There's a new meeting between them that we did not get to see in the books. So, and let's not forget about the third member of this potential love triangle, Mason Ashford, played by Andrew Liner, who's not here today, but is also a very important part of the story.
Precious.
He's so good.
Wait, there's a third part of this relationship.
But what can you tell us about what we're going to see from those relationships this season?
From my perspective,
There is no Mason Ashford.
yeah. Actually, it was quite interesting because me and Drew get along so well, and we're quite similar in different respects, if that makes sense. And we both come from similar backgrounds in regards to competitiveness. So we had a, we had a very
These boys in training, absolutely ridiculous. They're doing chin-ups and they're like, I can attach a bigger weight to my stomach to do this chin-up.
I always got one more, so it's fine. He's not going to watch this, is he?
He's here.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so it was interesting to see that we abstracted from, as opposed to a competitiveness, it was more of like a respect. We both come in the world that we're immersed in. They both are Dampiers, they're both bred to protect the Moroi. So there was a similarity, and it was all about the love for Rose as opposed to the competition between the two. And I think Drew will agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of my favorite stories in the book was Rose's friendship with Mason, but I always felt so sorry for Mason because it just seemed like he didn't really have a chance, and even when she kind of would give him little chances. And one of the things that we wanted to do, look, I'm going to be honest, there was a plan to kill Mason real early on, just like in the books, and like that was going to happen. And
Ouch.
then we met Drew. Andrew Liner.
That's true.
And the first thing she said to me when we auditioned him and saw him for the first time was, Mason can't
never
die
dies.
soon." So in the absence of me not being able to kill Mason in the first 5 episodes, like I woulda, now we had, it was incumbent upon us to actually try to build a legitimate and honest and authentic tension, because Rose and Mason, as good friends, and as, people with romantic chemistry, they're good at it. It shows up on screen, and so we actually have a little extra heat to that love triangle that I wouldn't have even planned for or
But they're
expected.
such honorable men, these two men.
Yeah, they're
That's
so
what I
honorable.
like. They're not trying to sort of outman each other. There's a respect that they have, grudging sometimes, but it makes it a very interesting triangle too, because what do you do? Because you're honor bound not to be that guy. That's not who you are. So it made it much more interesting.
Not to say that Mason won't die eventually, I'm just saying.
I mean,
Again, ouch.
Demetri has anything to do about it? I don't.
I'm just picturing Drew crying somewhere right now.
And then, Andre, we didn't get to see you in that sneak peek, but obviously you're still a massive part of the show. So what can you tell us about the potential budding romance we'll be seeing between Christian and Lissa?
Yeah, I think it's, without spoiling too much, I think it's a classic romance of this real, first meet chemistry. They first meet each other and they're like, we have this shared experience, we have this kind of resentment towards the society that we live in, and it's this real internal love that's being affected negatively by external factors. And I think we've all been there in some ways. I'm sure we've fallen for people who we can't be with due to distance or due to circumstances out of control. I know I have, and it's been really tough. And I think that's something that I really enjoyed portraying and enjoyed exploring within Christian. And oh my God, imagine getting to play her boyfriend on screen. I was dreaming every night. Yeah.
Oh, shut up. I think what's beautiful about Lissa and Christian too is they just have this thing about them where they see you. Even if it's an unspoken thing, it's like, I see you at your core. I see who you truly are. And I mean, they share so many similarities. They both had this traumatic thing happen where they lost their families. So I don't know. I would say there's this unspoken thing from the beginning with Lissa and Christian that I think is really cute.
Very, very attractive, too.
That's one of the most fun things about adapting a book series. The book series is all Rose single POV, right? Rose is your narrator. She tells you how she's feeling. Everything else is what she observes. She's able to get inside Lissa's head to know how Lissa is feeling so she can tell us that. But really, she's not in Christian Ozara's head. She's never in Dimitri's head. We, the writers, get to get inside their heads. We get to build their inner lives and build story out of those inner lives. And so Christian is a much more fully realized character in this series than he could have been in the books, in that we really only knew him by way of what Rose knew of him and how Rose felt about him. So I'm excited about him specifically because, you know, Andre's so good at that soulful, smart, intelligent, compassionate, but also careful emotion for a character. And he really, really did a good job.
A lot of pressure.